Hello, Yusuf. Okay, then I'll go on. So, the hardware are the physical part of the computer, and so our computers per functions they are they must be able to accept data. They should be able to store data. They should be able to process data. They should be able to output data. And Lucien other one said they should be able to communicate data. So from the onset, that's our computers and their functions. So we use them to and for them to be a computer, they must handle the following tasks. They should be able to accept data. They should be able to store the data that they accept. They should be able to process the very data. They should be able to output the data. So all of these things are done using different parts of the computer. So the hardware components of a computer include the output devices, the input devices, the external storage, the external how do you call it, the CPU, the RAMs. They are all the hardware part of the computer. Uh, Input devices on the computer are devices that receive signal from outside and then they transfer them to the computer. So they bring in traffic, so to say. They they will use them to input information to our computers. There is another part of the computer called the central processing unit, the CPU. So the CPU is that uh, part of the computer that processes our data that we enter to the computer. So when the data is entered through to the computer through the input devices, the CPU then processes them in that it will decode and execute the instructions. It will store the output in the memory. Then we have internal memories. Internal memories store data and instructions between and after CPU processes them. So after a CPU processes our data, the internal memories do save them. And the internal memories are the RAM, our random access memory, and then the ROM, which is the read-only memory. Another part of the another part of the computer is the motherboard. So the motherboard is that major component of the computer that connects every other component. So the CPU and all the other things are connected to the computer on the motherboard. We have external memories. External memories are storage devices that get attached to our computer. So they are not within our computer system, but they get attached to it either through the USB port or some other ports. So they are storage devices, but they don't reside in our computer system. Output devices are the devices we use to give out result of our processed data from the computer. So we have like our monitors, our printers, we have like the speakers. So once it is bringing out a result, whether through sound, uh, printed form, or whatever it is, it becomes an output device. Computers operate within the language of binary. So binary is the base 2 language, and that's the language of the computer. It has only two digits, either 0 or 1. And the 0 and 1 from our introduction represent either being off and on. So the digit and the basic unit of measurement of computer is bit. And going further, we have different units. So another unit is byte. A byte is a unit that include 8 bits. So the basic unit, our base unit of measurement, whether for speed or storage, is bit. So going further, we convert from bit to byte, and 8 bits make up a byte. So some other conversion we see, we have 1,000, how do you call it? 1,000 bytes will make 1 kilobyte. That is normal thing that we know along the line, our conversion table. Then We have the next unit. We have megabyte, and megabyte is 1,000 of kilobytes. That means 1 million of bytes. We have gigabyte, 1,000 of megabyte, terabyte, 1,000 of gigabytes, petabyte, 1,000 of terabytes, and then exabyte, 1,000 of petabytes. So each of these devices, I mean, each of these storage sizes are seen at different ends of our computing life. We might not be using some of them, and we might never even use some of them, but it depends on your use of computer. So this is the reason why this topic is introduced, because you as manager along the line will have to make some decision on which hardware or which software to go for, depending on your business need. So you will want to be considering the size of the hardware of the computer before you can even buy it. So it depends on your need. So as per our needs, we might never even use petabyte sized computer or exabyte sized computer. Terabyte, yeah, we might use. Then we come to classify computers. So when classifying computers, we can choose to classify computers in a range of ways. We can classify computers either by their size, or we classify computers by their power. So it depends on the speed and the processing power, how many memory it has, and due to this, the most powerful computers are very expensive in that they require a lot of resources. So to choose between which hardware to buy or which computer to buy, you should know to the fact that the more powerful the computer is, the more expensive it becomes. So computers, as per the processing power, we are not discussing computers per sizes. We are giving computers per their processing power. We have the supercomputers, which are the most powerful computers, and we don't see them often. And
Emmanuel?
for yes,
Yeah, sorry cutting you off, not really, but I just want to say something. I want to answer something rather.
yeah,
Because we are online and then we all know the situation of our internet connection. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it crack in. So is there a
yeah.
means where we can record the class as we teach and then
I'm,
it be
I'm
posted in the group chat?
we always doing it. I always recording the class, and after the class,
Hello?
hello, hello.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, I mean, first day in class.
I see. I want to believe so.
And
Uh,
Jeremiah, I'm sorry, first son.
okay. Yusuf, your hand up, and Jeremiah, your hand up. You want to say something?
Well, what I wanted to say, but I kept my hand on you. You didn't, how you call it, recognize me, so I had to unmute myself and say what I wanted to
Yeah,
say. But
yeah. Sorry.
I
The
don't know.
reason why I couldn't recognize you, the participants is over the slide I'm presenting from, so I have to hide the participant view. So I was not
Yeah,
seeing it.
yeah, okay. So, but,
Yeah. So we
all
always
right,
recording the
okay.
class. Always recording the class. If you look at my name now, you
Yeah, but
see
I
a
don't know
kind of
who's speaking in the background. Yeah, I don't know who's speaking in the background telling me I'm a first time in class. I mean, if I try to respond to you, the class will just be like, so there's no
That
need for you
that
to
crazy boy,
speaking.
maybe
I'm
Jerry.
speaking
That
to
crazy
Emmanuel,
boy.
not you. I don't know
Yeah,
who
Jeremiah,
came
that crazy boy, be
in the
wrong.
class. Yeah, please. I'm speaking to Emmanuel, not another person, please.
okay. I will move further.
Hello, Emmanuel.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, hello.
Hey,
Alexander speaking.
Azana, hi.
Yeah. Uh, Emmanuel, someone using Atia A44. Yeah, the person
Uh,
put a real need a time for attendance.
I know that man. I know him. He that just
Oh,
a man
okay.
who can learn. That one see first
Okay.
Hello.
here. Don't mind. That
Let me
people.
ask a question, please, Emmanuel.
Yeah, ask a
Yeah,
question.
hello.
Ask.
Yeah, you spoke of.
I'm the recording. Sorry. Yeah, that's a lot that we've lost. Anyway, so some of the when we had a break, so I made a pause on the recording. I forgot. So virtual memory, like the name virtual. So it's a memory that is not physical, that does not really exist. It's just pretending. So that is, it will act like a RAM, but it is actually taking space from your hard disk. So for instance, you have a RAM of 2 gig and it's not sufficient for your computer. One may create a virtual memory to borrow like maybe 4 or 5 gig from your hard drive that is surplus in space, so that that space can act as a RAM to increase the functionality and make your computer act faster. So that's the concept of virtual memory, uh, making uh, RAMs that are not physical. Plug and play are devices that when you plug to the computer, those are physical device. So by the time you plug them to your computer, they strictly run something. So they will run on your computer once you plug them without having to interfere with them. So for instance, you have a USB. So a USB can be plug and play in that by the time you plug the USB to the computer, it does not require you going to set up anything. It will just install what they need to install and then it start operation. Another key term is a driver. So a driver is a particular instruction about a particular hardware. So that instruction is given to the operating system and it tells the operating system how it is able to control that particular device. For instance, if we connected a graphics card or we connected maybe what could it be? We connected maybe what else? We connected maybe some kind of device, maybe it could be a physical device like a dongle or a modem, and then we need to access it on a computer. So the driver, if the device is not plug and play, you have to have the device driver to install them to your operating system, so as to give your operating system the instructions on how to control that particular device that you just plugged to it. So we have some other operating systems that can cover most services like database management. They can do networking. They can do security. Uh, some current operating systems are your Mac OS, our Windows 10 now, the Linux, and then Linux is always mostly free operating system, and then so the illustration here demonstrates what an operating system is. So operating system sit in the middle to the user, and then it communicates between the application and the user. The application software is sit between the application software and the user, and then the operating system now controls all the physical component of our computer, all the hardware. So it control the monitor, it control the keyboard, it control our mouse, it control the printer, it control the disk drives. So those are instructions that are given to our physical hardware of the computer. So these are common operating systems that we have, and they're developers that we have. Linux is it can run on PCs, NetWare, it can run on network servers, just a lot of them. So other system softwares include compilers, interpreters, communication software, utilities. All of them are all system software. Then we have softwares that are proprietary and softwares that are open source. So proprietary software are mostly sold software and they are owned. So the developer will have a private code to it, and then the developer have the right to the software. So they are normally distributed to you using keys, we call them product keys, and they are often paid for. We have some other software that are open source. So that means the code that is used to develop that software is shared with you, in that you can modify it to whatever use that you want to use it, and they are often free. Note that now, how they call it, software that are open source are not always free, but mostly they are free. What open source means is the source code, the code that the software is built upon, is shared free of charge. And depending on your need, you may choose to make changes to it or not. Some of these software include Mozilla Firefox, Mozilla Thunderbird, MySQL, Perl, and some of these Linux softwares. Okay, you give me small chance while I plug my laptop.
Hello, Manuel.
Hello.
Yeah, I thought it was posted that the class was going to start at 7:30.
No? It says 17:30.
Oh, 5, okay.
Emmanuel, hello.
Yes?
Are we going to stop at 7 o'clock to allow our Muslim brothers to go and do their wedding call?
Yeah, that the commitment we made to them, so we have to go ahead with it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So open source software. So the key term is not all.
I didn't recommend you people there. Thank you.
So not all free software, not all free software are open source, and not all open source software are free. So there are some open source software that are on sale, and there are also some proprietary software that are free. So don't miss the term when you hear open source and think that means the software is free. No, why it mean is the source code, the code for producing that software is made available to you. So even if you bought it, they will make the code available to you, or even if you didn't buy it, it will make it available to you. So you can change it and tailor it to your own need. So Linux is best known for producing open source software, and then they are popular because they are versatile and they mostly run on mainframe electronic devices and handheld computers. So software licensing has to do with permission. What permission is given to users of a particular software is referred to as licensing of software. So normally we pay for license, and then maybe for a given time, like some software when we pay for the license, it carries us for lifetime, and some of the softwares when we pay for them, they are just for a limited time, sometime a month or year or whatever. So for this part of the slide, what we want to know is when you are purchasing a software, what are the things you have to consider? You have to consider the cost. You have to consider the time that it will take you to implement it. Then you have to consider the cost of interrupting operations, and then the modification cost. So that's it. You have to go SKD for test. So before buying, Sifos, your hand up. You want to say something?
Yeah, on the issue of the presentation tools develop impression. I want you to give me a little light there.
What?
Presentation development tools.
Presentation
impression.
Tools?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it create impression. For instance, the idea of presenting. The reason why I'm presenting to you is because I want to share something with you. So in that I want to impress you. The reason why somebody will have to use PowerPoint to present is because they want to share some knowledge with you. In that they are trying to impress you. That's just what the slide is saying. So the presentation tools create impression because you are trying to convince the mind of people. Does that make any sense to you, Sivos?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, so does that make sense to you? That if say presentation software create impression because the goal is you are trying to push an idea. You are trying to sell something to people. Like for instance, I came to you and I'm presenting to you on the importance of computer or just what I'm doing now. So I'm convincing you. I'm telling you something that you might find interesting in that I'm impressing you.
Okay.
So when we go out to buy software, to purchase software, we want to first look at the cost of the software, look at the time it will take us to implement. Because if we buy a software that it will take us 2-3 months to implement, that is far more than the time that we have to a lot. What is the essence? No essence. Then cost of interrupting operations. To implement a new software, you must interrupt certain services. Like that is why, like Lone Star, if they do certain update, they will send you a message that by this time tomorrow we'll be carrying on updates and your services will be interrupted. So if a software implementation will interrupt your service for 2-3 days and you are that service provider that will not be able to accept that kind of downtime, then it is not necessary to implement that particular software. Then we'll talk about the modification cost. Modification cost. I mean, if your software is very costly to modify, for instance, I bought a Microsoft a software that I need to modify to look in my organization's name, and it is very costly to modify. Then I will not want to go into it. So the idea of this course is for us to have a reasonable idea on all of these things so that we'll be able to make sound decisions. We'll be able to make informed decisions in the future when we are in a position to. So let me see how many slides we still have. So to summarize, we've talked a lot about hardware, the important decision we have to make in purchasing hardware. We've talked about the RAM, the ROM. We've talked about the external storages. We've talked about programming languages. We've talked about the classification of software. And so, as per our promise to our brothers who are Muslim, we'll have to end the class here, unless somebody have a question to ask that we or concern to raise that we can address. But I think we could end the class here for today, and we'll continue our next class time. So, anybody have a question?
The person that continue coughing to go to SKD.
Manuel?
Yeah.